In part 1 of PvP An Inside Look, I want to discuss with you the importance of gear selection and spell deck construction. This is part 1 of a 4-video series on PvP. As of today, Avalon has not been released to the live realm. When that happens, things are going to change a little bit, and we'll discuss that when Avalon is released. So let's get right into it, guys. The first thing we want to talk about when we're preparing to PvP is our gear selection. Now, I will be talking to you with the understanding that I am a level 70 life wizard, and I will act accordingly in team PvP. A few things I want to point out is my current damage boost, 28% life. My resistance, a whopping 44%. Accuracy, 22%. But here's where it kind of goes bad. A critical rating of 30 and a block rating of 60. Power pips, 87%. The big one, if you are a life wizard in PvP, you need to be able to heal. And your heals need to be massive. So as you can see, 42% incoming, 40% outgoing. This setup would have been fine if level 50 was the max and there was no critical to deal with. But as we know, level 70 is currently the max, and so I'm going to show you the gear that I would wear if I were going into PvP right now, into team PvP. Let me just equip a few more things here. There we go. Alright, and we'll start off with the hat. Waterworks hat, Hood of Esprit, dropped in the Waterworks, you know that. Interesting choice for me is I still choose to wear the Coat of Invincibility. Why? Awesome resistance, pretty good damage, and I need that accuracy. I choose the boots because they give me a whopping 79 block rating, as well as an additional 5% resistance. And as you can see, I get an even bigger damage boost and a little bit more accuracy. Now for my wand, the Raven's Claw of Unkindness. Where do you get this from? Well, if you have the crowns and you're patient, it's available through the Raven's Horde pack. Now notice, an additional 60 block rating and an additional 30 critical rating. Can't beat that. My Athane, the Cosmic Chris. As a life wizard, again, I want my heals to be mammoth, especially if I crit with a rebirth or a satyr. I need to just spit those heals out. My amulet is a Myth Mastery amulet. And I'll get into why I have that equipped when we go over the spells. Stellar Signet. Again, I want my heals boosted. Minimum requirement for your pet in PvP. It must have Sprightly, and it must have Spellproof. At a minimal 9%, 10% being preferred. And of course I have the Chieftain's Smiling deck, which allows me a total of 64 spells. I can have a maximum of 6 copies that are not life spells, and the life spells I can have a maximum of 8 copies with a sideboard of 30. Alright, so now that we have reviewed my gear, let's again look at my character statistics with this gear on. Now my damage is so-so, 44%. But my job in team PvP is to heal, to keep my team alive. And if an opportunity presents itself where I can attack, then I attack. My resistance, 38%. That's not bad. There's people out there with better, but this is pretty good. My accuracy, 14. Critical rating, 89. That's decent. No, that's not even decent. That's 16%. but the block rating is 139. If you do not have a block rating of at least 125, you're going to get murdered in the arena. So you're looking for a critical block rating of at least 125. Power pips at 87. Again, my incoming and outgoing heal boosts. Okay, so now that we've discussed my gear, let's look at the deck that I use when I go into ranked PvP, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, or 4 versus 4. I will not be covering 1v1 in these series of videos. Maybe in the future I will. Team PvP is an animal all by itself. So let's look at my deck setup for a ranked PvP. Snow shields, stun blocks, towers, volcanic shields. Very important because there's a lot of storm, a lot of fire out there that want to come in and just murder you. So you've got to protect yourself if you're a life wizard. Really, you have to protect yourself, period, in PvP. A few colossals. 1, 2, 3, 4 life dispels. Very important. Once you get the enemy down, now you want to prevent them from healing. Notice in this entire deck, I only have 2 Forest Lords. The majority of my spells are shields and heals. 3 fairy, 7 rebirth, sanctuaries, satyrs, triage unicorn, time of legend, earthquake, myth dispel, mend, very important. And you must, this is a must-have in PvP, you must have a reshuffle. If you run out of cards, you become a burden to your team. Now, let's talk about my treasure deck. Again, more shields. I mean, if you can't stay alive, you're not going to keep your team alive. But then notice, too, if an opportunity presents itself, I have a centaur, an additional forest lord, 2 gnomes at the ready. And again, more heals and more bubbles. Let's go back to the main deck, because my secondary responsibility in PvP after healing is to spam earthquake. I do not want the other team to blade stack their storm wizard and we get hit with these sirens and he criticals and we die. If I can, and if my team is not in need of a major heal, then I need to pump out these earthquakes and make sure I knock off shields or blades. Why do I have all these bubbles up in my deck? Suppose we're in a 4v4 situation. 2 of my team members are dead. The 3rd member is on the ropes, and I need to get off a heal quickly, and it needs to be good. But the other team knows I'm a life wizard, so what do? They cast a doom and gloom. It is very important that your team always maintains control of the bubble. If a doom and gloom goes up, that's bad, especially if your team needs a heal. You need to be able to counteract that doom and gloom with a time of legend, or sometimes even a sanctuary, even though that helps both teams. At the same time, I want to be able to dispel the other team, because maybe they have the same strategy. Maybe when we get bladed up, they're going to earthquake us. So I always want to keep them on the defensive. I have mend in because I just want that even crazier extra boost. If my pet sprites me, I get an additional 20% heal. So this is the deck that I use when I enter team PvP. You already saw the gear that I use, and I'll just review it. The Waterworks hat, the coat of invincibility. Now, suppose you're not a warlord and you don't have access to the coat of invincibility. My second choice would be either your Waterworks cape or maybe even one of the crafted capes from Zafaria. The Heart of Cold Hikers, the Raven's Claw of Unkindness, Cosmic Chris, Myth Mastery Amulet. If I'm going to cast Myth Dispels, Time of Legend, and Earthquakes, I don't want to use any more pips than I have to. Stellar Signet, and of course, a pet with Sprightly and Spellproof is a must-have. So, one other issue that I want to talk about in PvP, and that would be polymorphs. If you go into a ranked team PvP situation and you polymorph into a ninja pig or a treant, you are as good as dead. Because when you polymorph, you lose all of your statistics. You no longer have the 38% resist. You no longer have the damage boost. You no longer have the accuracy. In some cases, you no longer have the critical, and you definitely don't have critical block. So I highly recommend against using polymorphs in any ranked PvP situation. 1v1, 2v2, etc. Polymorphs are bad for PvP. Let me show you what I've spent my training points on. I'm going to review my spells so you can see for yourself what I have. As you can see, I trained in Ice up to Tower Shield. Also got the Stun Block. Trained all the way up to Colossal. I grabbed Cloak, even though I don't currently use it. It does have some uses. What else is in here that's good? Goat Monk. I had to farm for that like crazy. Glad I got that. I don't currently see an application for it in PvP, but you know, I may change my mind and put one in my treasure deck just to see if the opportunity arises to use that. Then I trained in Myth all the way up to Earthquake. Conviction, Mend, Spirit Blade, and Reshuffle. So I'm going to end this video. This is a lot longer than I normally like to take them, but PvP is such a complex subject that these videos have to be longer to get in all the different areas. In video 2 of this series, which I should produce either today or tomorrow, we're going to talk about some different aspects, some different interactions with team PvP. We're also going to talk about the importance of communicating with your team members during PvP. And finally, in video 2, we are going to discuss the fine art of discarding. Okay, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, put them in the box below. And please subscribe. I want to remind you again that as of the date of this recording, Avalon has not been released. So when that happens, things will change. Okay, bye everybody.